Welcome to the Produce Moms Podcast, where we believe there is a produce mom in all of us. I'm Lori Taylor, founder and CEO of the Produce Moms. For 10 years, I sold fresh produce to over 300 grocery stores in the U.S. And today, my team and I are fully focused on inspiring people to eat more fruits and vegetables. This show is just one of the ways that we hope to inspire you and your family to eat more produce and live a better life. If you like what you're hearing on the podcast, join our community of almost 40,000 in all 50 states and over 30 countries by visiting theproducemoms.com/subscribe. And be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. Thanks for being here. Enjoy today's show. Welcome back, everyone. This is the Produce Moms Podcast, and I am Lori Taylor, the host of this show, the founder of the Produce Moms, and someone who really admires and enjoys our guest today. We are welcoming back. You're going to have to scroll way back in the episode archives. She was episode 8 and episode 44. We are welcoming Jackie London. Jackie is today, she's leading all things nutrition at WW, formerly known as Weight Watchers. And she is the author of what is truly the most classic and easy to read book about nutrition. The title of her book is Dressing on the Side and Other Diet Myths Debunked. I literally read it in like a day and a half. So if you haven't had the pleasure of reading this book, I encourage you. Today is the day you download it or purchase it. And right now is the moment where we're welcoming Jackie back to the podcast. Jackie, we're so glad you're here, my friend. Welcome back.
Yay! I'm so happy to be here. It's always so happy to be with you, even if we're separated far away. But at least we're together here.
I know. We were talking before the show. I promise that our next interaction, I don't promise, but I hope our next interaction is over a good latte in New York City.
Exactly. I'm dreaming of it now. It sounds perfect.
That's right. Well, how have you been?
I'm doing okay. I feel like we're all in our kind of constant state of evaluating and reevaluating self-care as priority, and whether or not and what that looks like on an everyday basis is absolutely different and completely dynamic. I feel like it's the most fluid state of self-care that there could possibly be. But we're all just kind of trying to hang in there and do what we can and prioritize personal health in ways that feel meaningful to you. For example, today I prioritize personal health by actually making it out the door to walk the dogs so that they could use their own world as their toilet. And I feel like that meant I got outside today. There we go. Right?
There you go.
There it is. So those are the small things that I'm hanging on to right now.
Oh, I love it. Well, you are such a person that just keeps it real as it relates to nutrition and wellness. And that comes alive in the book for sure, Jackie. I mean, it really is.
Thank you, Lord.
It really is one of the easiest to read books. And anyone who has the pleasure of reading your book, it's a glimpse into the great personality that Jackie has. She's a little sarcastic, a little bit of a spitfire. But at the end of the day, she's super, super smart. I mean, Jackie, you have a storied background in the nutrition and dietetics community and profession. And today, tell us more about what you're doing at WW.
So I am head of nutrition and wellness at WW, where I have been working. I've started in September of 2019, and really what I have been working on since I started and really hit the ground running. We launched right after I started there. We launched our new program of 2020, which was My WW. This year, we've launched My WW Plus, which is really one of the most impressive, holistic, programmatic approaches to wellness and also to weight loss, but through the lens of your everyday habits, including meals, snacks, your activity, your general state of mind. We have tools for sort of shifting your focus, where 5-minute coaching is an in-app feature that we recently launched. We have tools that help you kind of help set up your environment for a healthier sleep pattern. So bringing the message of what's really happening behind the scenes before you're a member, before you decide to become a member, to life for those who might be interested, who might see value, who have different opinions about what WW is, what it's not. So I've really been working on, what I would call the sort of personal roadshow of bringing the core message of what true dynamic self-care actually looks like in real life. So, right. And bringing that out into the world and sharing that with everyone.
Yeah. And for anyone with us right now, I mean, definitely check out the WW social media as well as Jackie's, her public social media as well. It's Jacqueline London RD, right? Isn't that your handle? All right. Jacqueline London RD. And she shares a lot of really positive things. What I love about Jackie is she makes it so approachable and real for all of us. And I also really love that about the WW platform. But, obviously, Jackie, I don't have to tell you what my favorite thing is about your mantra and your employers, but it's the fact that you promote fruits and vegetables as the ultimate choice in food.
Ultimate world. I actually called it somewhat recently nature's gift to humans. I mean, veggies and fruit as the true gift to anyone everywhere and any humans everywhere. Mm-hmm. Anyone looking to make a more nutritious, more health promoting choice, no matter what you're doing, where you are. My sort of core philosophy comes back to more produce more often in whatever ways you can make meals built around produce items. Mm-hmm. The automatically more nutritious your meal or snack is going to become. And the more you've opened the door to discovering new flavors, expanding your palate, introducing new foods to other members of your family, whether that's kids or adults, mm-hmm. And bringing to life what is truly so important for all of us, which is sharing nourishing meals together, mm-hmm. Even when together means doing so in a virtual capacity, but really understanding that, this, when I say it's sort of nature's gift to us, what I really think of is like the true growing process and the foundation in, our connection to ourselves, our connection to one another, and our connection to our world starts with produce. I mean, it's sure. Such a key, powerful, and the understanding of that, I think, is really what's so important to me, is getting that message also out there into the world. And certainly WW at our program, the My WW Plus program, we have historically encouraged this, but we're doing so more than ever. We give, myriad tools for building meals around various produce highlights. Like we'll highlight a certain ingredient and bring that to life for our members through different pieces of content of how to use certain things in different recipes, when to use certain things based on season and where you live and regionality. So mm-hmm. there's a ton of support for bringing the story of produce to life through our platform and for our members, because, these are nature's gift.
Yeah, that's right. And Jackie, we've got a lot of work to do. I mean, when you look at the consumption habits and behavior in the United States, one that I'll call out on this show, I just read an article this week, less than 2% of teenagers in America are eating the recommended amounts of vegetables on a daily basis. Oh my God. Less than 2%.
That's so upsetting. That's so upsetting, but also such a, it's so interesting. I can see statistics like that, which make total sense.
I can totally see how it happens.
Exactly. It makes total sense. You can totally see how it happens. And at the same time, there's a part of me that hears something like that and sees it as an enormous growth opportunity. How are we going to bring this to life for those who are, especially for teens who are about to leave home and mm-hmm. to go or to possibly go elsewhere and to, continue on their journey while making the transition into real adulthood, and want to make choices that are right for them and their families eventually. Like, this is the moment. Mm-hmm. So it's a powerful opportunity, I think.
It's a super powerful opportunity. And one thing that I find myself, especially since I've been spending so much more time at home with my children, one of which is a 13-year-old now, I find myself becoming a lot better with the preparing dishes that we didn't typically have a whole fruit or vegetable serving in it, but like getting that produce into a dish. We just published a recipe on theproducemoms.com. It was pimento cheese made with cauliflower. So you use the cauliflower rice and you follow a classic pimento cheese recipe, but you add a whole cup of cauliflower to, the recipe, and you get, not a complete serving of produce, but you're probably not going to consume, the recipe serves 4 people. All right. So you get a quarter cup of cauliflower and when you're eating your pimento cheese. And I promise you cannot even tell that there's cauliflower in it. It just tastes like a normal pimento cheese.
Lori, when we get off of this recording today, I'm going immediately to theproducemoms.com. I will be making this tonight. So thank you for
yes.
Thank you for being you, but also thank you for providing me with dinner tonight.
But so what is a tip that you have for our listeners today that are like, my teenager is definitely in that 2%, what do you want to tell to the mom that's listening, thinking I'm not, more than likely feeling guilty about it. I'm not doing my job to get my child out of that, or into that 2%, I guess is where we want them. I mean, gosh, it's hard to believe that only 2% of teenagers are eating the recommended amounts of veggies.
Yeah. Well, what I think is really interesting for this population specifically, and I say that like in such a formal sounding way, but what I really mean is that if we think about what the lifestyle is for teens, like what is the sort of everyday habit? What are the meals and snacks that are going to be the best impacted by making any sort of shift or refocusing or swap or even addition of produce, is to consider the convenience factor. I think like this, more than any other group of people, teens are so much more often moving, whether that is indoors in their own contained space, moving around, doing different things, spending time online, spending time, getting outdoors, but perhaps a little bit less right now, given the weather and also given, our current environment. But what I think makes anything that much more simple is to think in terms of the convenience factor and then wherever you can add. So whether that is going to be something your teen is having an egg sandwich for breakfast, like, is that an opportunity to add in avocado to that mix? Is that a moment where you can scramble those eggs with arugula and add in, right? So based on whatever you are making or whatever you have on hand, is there a place where we can add some type of produce and make that available, make it an option and make it delicious? And if it's in the context of something that you already love eating, it's automatically that much more delicious, right? And then the convenience factor becomes important when we think about when, Laura, you were saying before about how your kids are at school and are actually still living that on the go life and actually, busy, have many needs, different things. But I think then the benefits of energy, of, fueling for the things you want to do in your life become a little bit more of an opportunity to kind of elevate the true benefits of veggies and fruit as part of your snacks, your meals, your everyday. The thing that I always, I find myself always relying on the general idea of considering where you can have a real whole food included in any meal or snack. And what that ultimately involves is at least one piece of produce, a cup of produce, whatever it is that you're having, you've automatically made a more nutritious choice that's going to be energy stabilizing and provide you with the nutrients you need to do the other things that you need to do, whether that's sports, school, tide you over until dinner, whatever that is. There's always different ways to bring this back to the lifestyle first. And that's what I think is most critical, particularly for this population. But we're not about guilt here. No guilt, no shame about anything to do with, we're all doing the best we can. So while the 2% is both,
not what we want to hear.
Concerning. It's not what we want to hear. Exactly. It's definitely normal and understandable and totally relatable.
Right. And to your point, it's an opportunity, it's an opportunity. And definitely want to echo your sentiments. I always tell the moms that trust and follow us and are part of our community, like, you're doing a great job. And anytime you're choosing a fruit or a vegetable or making a fruit or a vegetable available to those that you love, you're doing the best thing that you could possibly be doing in your kitchen. So
exactly.
It's, and Jackie, we gotta call it out. This is the United Nations Year of Fruits and Vegetables. I feel like
I honestly,
we were meant for this.
We were meant for this. It's our year, Lori. This is our year. I mean, this is everything. We've got the United Nations behind us in the Year of Fruits and Vegetables. So let us celebrate, to echo a common meme on social media. Let us celebrate, but spelled with a U-C-E.
Yes, there you go. And so I'm going to, in spirit of the Year of Fruits and Vegetables, I'm going to see if you would mind sharing some of your favorite fruits and veggies with our listeners. I always tell people that's like naming your favorite child. Like, it's hard to do when you love them all, but at the end of the day, we all have our favorites. So what's one veggie that you always have in your fridge?
Okay. I have a few in my fridge right now, but I'm not going to go there with my forever love cauliflower, because I've done pizza, rice, and a pasta using cauliflower this week. So I'm not going to go there, because I feel like I talk about this beloved classic. It's sort of like, it's like the Jane Austen of vegetables. Like, this is a beloved classic. So I am going to tell you about my current obsession, which is, also seems a little bit like it falls in the classics. If cauliflower is Jane Austen, then apples would be the Charlotte Bronte. Would be a Bronte sister at the very least of my personal kitchen. But I have been making this recipe, Lori, that is on www.com. It's crunchy apple salsa. I have talked about it so much recently because, for whatever reason, I started making it for the first time over the summer in doing something that was a video demo. It's something that we were doing for members, and it was so delicious and so easily modified with different seasonal ingredients that I was like, why aren't I making this? I'm making this all the time. I overdid it. I made too much of it. I ate it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I was adding it to everything. I was using it as hair conditioner. I was like, I love this so much. No, but now I've had a resurgence. I've had a full resurgence with it, adding in some citrus, especially because now we've got some citrus in season. So I've added a little bit of grapefruit. I've got lime instead of lemon. I mean, there's lots that you can do with it. It's called crunchy apple salsa, if anyone is looking for it, and it's on www.com. But it's got, what I love is anything spicy. So anytime I can add serrano peppers are in there. I love smoked sea salt as a part of any type of ingredient or condiment or cooking or whatever I'm doing at home as a little extra kind of surprising add-on to bring the flavor out. So I'm having a moment with apples, but it is really hard to pick a favorite vegetable. I just had these sweet potatoes that I made the other day that were so phenomenal. And I just felt like there is a reason why these are a class. Like, this is a true classic. And I also, what I love about so many fruits and veg of all different types, but particularly something like a tuber, something in the tuber family, is that they're sort of like a blank canvas for whatever else you want to do. So something we do a lot is to like have a baked potato or a sweet potato bar, like a toppings bar, on which we'll just kind of add in lots of different ingredients, whether that's beans, Greek yogurt, salsa, of course, because, and in my case, many types of salsa I'll use because I love lots of spice, lots of heat on there. But using produce in more blank canvas sort of ways is a really big part of my personal and professional life. I feel, it's really bringing that to life for many is what I'm really passionate about, because it is just as easy as it is delicious and nutritious.
Yes, it is. You are such a beacon of light and encouragement for us all, Jackie. You're the best. So
that means everything. As are you, Lori. I can't say, I love you. I just can't say enough great things about you. Really.
We've had a lot of good times, girl. We're gonna resume those good times in New York as soon as I can.
We are.
Get out there and the world changes and we can do things like hug and be in person and travel without concerns, right? So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I've got something for you. I know you're a dog mom.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
So the Produce Moms, when we reviewed all our data in 2020,
Yeah.
we had like 6 weeks out of our 52-week year where dog recipes, we had 4 dog recipes that ranked in our top 10 of our entire 600 plus page website. 40% of our top 10 was pet recipes. Can you believe that? So
I can believe it. I can believe it. I'm so excited about that. I know there are 2 individuals, shall we say, in my home that are going to be amped up about that section, about those recipes. So now I've got pimento cheese and the dog recipe. So which one was
treats? There's the minty fresh dog treats that were like an approach to,
they need
combating
this.
that doggy breath. Yeah. So those were that was hands down the 2020 top dog recipe, but we just published in 2021. We're getting good response so far. We just published a crock pot recipe for dog food, like a meal prep recipe for your dog using fruits and vegetables and a little bit of I think we use ground turkey or chicken. I can't remember in the recipe, but yeah. So it's amazing how the Produce Moms has grown with dog moms even since the last time you and I talked, but didn't know if you were seeing any other similar trends from your point of view, like with people asking you more, questions about, what kind of fruits and vegetables can I feed my dogs?
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. And so funny that you say this, because I literally just broke out my one of my other, I mean, this is what I mean. You're right. It's like asking someone to pick a favorite, anything of like something that is so meaningful to them. But the other sort of sneaky staple I always have on hand is canned pumpkin for the dogs, and for making sure that both the dogs and the 2 adults in the house also have, proper GI health. Very important for everybody.
Yes, agreed.
But it's funny because I broke that out this week, and I just like what I have been doing, this is such a strange thing that I just never really realized I do for myself too, which is mixing canned pumpkin with Greek yogurt. And I will add for a human, I would add, I would make it a little bit more of like a dip for like sliced apples or pears to use with, as part of a dip, so that it's more of a satisfying snack and also adds that fun element. I just feel like dips, toppings are really a kind of go-to for keeping it customizable, at home for the actual humans. But for the dogs, that combo of mixing the Greek yogurt with the pumpkin was both stomach settling and also made me at least feel like it was okay that we had to skip the dog food for the morning because felt like a more complete whole meal to give to them. But yeah, my Wheaten Terrier had a little upset tummy this week, so he got plenty of canned pumpkin. But that is a fan favorite. On the complete other end of that, there is something that is like the siren call, like it's sort of like a rallying cry for dogs everywhere, that I have found that the second that fridge door, they won't hear you if you're calling, but just the tiny, I'll be like, moving toward the fridge slowly, quietly. I just want to eat a snack. I just want to prep dinner. Can't I just prep dinner without being accosted for string cheese or some such, right? So there is no way to get into my kitchen without a herd of 2 dogs right behind me, following me with everything. There's nothing they won't really do for food, isn't there?
I know.
Right?
It's wild. I know.
It's wild.
Well, we're closing in on our time, but I want to spend a little bit more time talking about your book, because I am a huge fan of it. And it's, when did you actually launch the book? Was it a couple years ago? Was it 2019?
It was January of 2019. And what's so funny about that is that in some ways, because of our world shifting, and we were talking about this earlier,
lifetime ago.
It feels like both a lifetime ago, and it also feels like the other day, because it really wasn't that long ago. But anyway, but the book came out in January of 2019, and it is 11 chapters that are really focused around the sort of biggest pain points that I would see in practice of, what are some of the areas or the questions or the statements that were positioned as, oh, I have a question, but it's actually a statement, right? Like of the myths that trip us up.
The things that make your head spin, Jackie.
Exactly. They make my head spin, but that I had so much information and tips and strategies and concepts and content to bring to life for people that I just felt like this is the home for it, because if this is useful in practice, in my microcosm of the world where I was a practicing RD in New York, that this has got to be real for so many other people. And I think there's so much.
For sure. Yes.
There's just so much misinformation out there right now. And in general, and I think to some extent, we're sort of honing in on what real quality means to us, like what real actionable, tangible information sounds and feels like within our current lifestyle and the evergreen nature of good quality information. And that's what I really attempted to do when writing this book.
You did it in a big way. You know what I would how I would describe it or compare it to. I have to write a lot for my job. Yeah. And I majored in language in college. So I wrote all the time my whole life. And I have the book, and it's been around, I think at this point, like a century, The Elements of Style by Strunk and White. Are you familiar with it?
Of course.
It's a classic.
Oh my gosh, I love that classic.
So when someone asked me about your book, I said, it's like Strunk and White for nutrition. Just get it.
My gosh,
that's how I feel about
compliment. I'm going to use that. I think I'm going to use that. That is the highest compliment. Thank you for saying that.
Quote me on it.
It's
true.
Gosh.
It really is such an easy read, and it's so relatable. And the way that the book is divvied up in the small, digestible, for lack of a better word, digestible chapters. It's a classic. So it doesn't matter. I think you'll be selling this book for years to come, Jackie. And I
hope so, Lori. I hope so. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a great book. So with that, I want everyone to obviously go pick up the Strunk and White of Nutrition, Jackie London's dressing on the side. But with that, Jackie, we've come to the end of our time together. And, it's been since episode 8 and 44 that you were last on, but
I love that.
You still get the last word. So I thank you for being here. But you close out the show and you get to have the final goodbye with our audience today. So thanks again for all that you do. And you're a great person.
My gosh, I love this. I'm just so inspired by you, Lori. I really feel like those of us in this world where we're just trying to make it easier to eat healthier, one meal or snack at a time, without, sacrificing taste, time, or cost. And that is really what Dressing on the Side does. Thank you for reminding me to say that today. And it's also truly what WW does at such a large scale too, around the world. I just think, in whatever ways that you can find to make it simpler to eat better, do it. Take the shortcut, take whatever is the fastest route to get you to where you want to be, but consider what's convenient and accessible to you, and use that as the model by which, and give yourself the permission to readjust and to reset when you need to, because ultimately, bringing it back to the self-care point, self-care is dynamic. It's not a place, it's not a test that we have to ace. It's real life. And it's really, it's figuring out the best way for you within your very real everyday life. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate how your work always does that, and does that for so many people. And we're going to keep on fighting that good fight. Year of Fruits and Veggies, Year of Lori Taylor and Fruits and Veggies, said the United Nations. and me.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Produce Moms Podcast. If you or someone you know would like to be a featured guest, just send an email to lori@theproducemoms.com. We know there is a produce mom in you because there's a produce mom in all of us. Join our community on Facebook and all social platforms. Help us change the way America eats. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.